Let's just recap first, just so I can kind of know in my mind what we've gone over so far and see what other things might come up that we've missed. So we have the first podcast that we did on this was communication, making sure that your communication is healthy, it is active, it is alive, it is thriving.
Yeah.
Because without that, that's really the bedrock. That's really like the foundational element of your marriage.
Right.
If you break down there, or clam up, I should say, there, you're going to feel that in every aspect. In intimacy, you're going to feel that in your parenting. You're going to feel that in so many areas of your marriage. So that's number one. Make sure your communication is healthy. If you struggle with communication, read books on how to open up. Read books on how to, I don't know, how to communicate better, how to be a better listener. Maybe you're a terrible listener, and that's why the communication breaks down in your marriage, because you don't shut up.
Or you don't have time to communicate. Got to make time for that.
Making time for it. That's a huge aspect of it. Yeah. Second podcast.
I'm sorry. Can I stop you there? So one thing I thought of when you were talking about communication, and then you said intimacy too. I feel like this is something that maybe we don't have down that well yet, but I've heard from books that this is a good thing that you could do. But like I've heard experts say that like communication, like during physical intimacy, is important. Like whether that's like, I'll give two examples that I can remember from like reading. One being like, let's say you do have something that you're bringing into the marriage, whether it was like physical abuse, sexually as a child or something, you got to talk through that.
Yeah.
You pray through that. Or my other example would be, like if your spouse isn't doing something that you want them to do physically, like just talk to them about it.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to add that in there. That was something I read in a couple books, and I was like, oh yeah.
No, that's a really good point.
You don't think about communicating like in that time, but they say that's a healthy thing.
Why not?
Why not? Right? Why not?
Why not communicate in that time when you're supposed to be intimate? If you're holding back communication within that time, like, oh, I really want to say this right now.
Right.
But
I'm not going to.
But I'm not going to. There you go. Now you dangled something outside emotionally, and that's not a part of your intimacy.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. That's really good. All right. Second podcast, we talked about marriage with kids and just how to have a healthy marriage after having children. And it's not easy.
Yeah.
It's not. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of, we talked about this relationship needing to be 100-100. You can't go 50-50 in a marriage. Doesn't work. You're already leaving the door open in a 50-50 relationship for divorce. You're already leaving the door open for cheating on your spouse. Right. You can argue with me on that. Let's take a look at our marriages in 10 years and we'll see.
Yeah.
And we'll see.
Yeah.
You have to go all in. If you're going to get married, you go all in.
Yep.
You go deep end. You go till death do us part, or don't do it.
Yes.
It's not fair to that person if you're not all in.
Right.
If you're still holding back in any regard,
that is not fair.
It is selfish for you to get married.
And that person to make that commitment and you haven't.
Have that, to lead that person along and say, oh yeah, I love you.
No matter what.
No matter what. Mostly.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Don't do that. So working through that, staying on the same page is crucial when you have kids, knowing how things are going, knowing how your spouse is doing while raising kids, and vice versa. What are you struggling with? What is something that I can pray for you about? What is something that I can encourage you in, or check you in?
Yeah.
There are definitely things in our parenting, like, and you've done this with me, where like I maybe have gone too far, getting mad at the kids or something like that. And you've been like, man, I really wish you would. I think it would be better for the parent or parenting in general if you just took a break, like walked out of the room, came back, and then calmly,
right,
you know, dealt out death and judgment.
Yeah.
You know? And that's been good. Like, I've really appreciated the times that you've checked me and been like, nah, that wasn't good.
Yeah.
That wasn't good. You need to fix this going forward, because this is going to affect our parenting overall. And with parenting, you know, if one parent is struggling and that other parent isn't coming alongside of them and helping them and really working with them, most likely that other person is going to develop, like I think we talked about this in the last podcast, resentment.
Yeah.
Like, why aren't you as good a parent as I am? And the other person is probably going to wonder, why am I not as good a parent as them? And if you're not talking about it, going back to communication, it's all a cycle, people.
It is all a cycle.
It's going to create some rifts and problems in the health of your relationship.
Yeah. It'll make everything easy. My lisp is coming out. It'll make everything easier if you just work as a team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So, and then in this podcast, you know, just kind of recounting what we talked about tonight, intimacy is an amazing gauge at, you know, seeing how healthy your marriage is. Use it as a tool. Talk to your spouse about it. Make sure that they know to use it as a tool. Hey, if you ever see me holding back, if you ever see me giving you the cold shoulder, call me out.
Right.
I'm sorry, it'll not be easy. They'll probably hate that you called them out.
Yeah.
Because of that emotional thing that probably is lingering there.
Right.
That's not dealt with.
Yeah.
Just know that coming in, but do it. Do not leave things for like 2 weeks or a month.
Yeah, no.
Left unsaid. Like, it's just not worth it. It is not worth it. You will be so much happier when that's restored and your intimacy is better.
Right. Yeah.
So,
and I think going with that, again, something that came to mind is like, I know we've said this a lot before, but it can't be said enough. So much grace needs to be given. Like, you need to be in a marriage, you need to have a humble heart, and you need to give so much grace. Like, if you're like, just as you said that, like, I was just thinking of scenarios in my head. Like, if someone pointed that out to you, that you're holding back in a physical way, and then you talk about the issue, maybe it's an emotional issue, and you're still holding back because you're still a little bit angry, like, you need to stop. Like, you need to forgive that person. Like, if they're actually sorry and whatever happened, like, you need to forgive them and have a humble heart and accept their apology and continue forward, because it's not healthy to you to do that, and it's not helpful to them. It is hard.
It's so hard. But it's so hard to do, but suck it up.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, even if you don't believe yourself at first.
Right. Maybe you have to forgive that person again and again in your mind.
Exactly.
But
you
that's
might have
okay.
to come back to that forgiveness personally.
Yes.
And do it again.
Yes.
But in that instance, instead of driving a knife deeper into that person that already came and apologized, just forgive and then work on it.
Right. Work on it. Yeah. You know? That's a really good point, because forgiveness is not easy. And sometimes you have to do it a lot of times. You just do it until you actually have done it. And it might take a long time.
100%.
But it's going to be healthy for you and your marriage, and you will be happier if you actually put aside your pride and do that. So,
yeah. What's up, everybody? You just watched a clip from one of our Just Breathing podcasts. If you want to see the full version, you just hit the link in the description below. Or if you want to just keep watching clips, we got some more right here. Thanks, everybody.